Playground!
Hooray!
SBK! Bangers, welcome to episode 10 of the SBK Show. I'm SBK. Yes. And without further ado, I guess the ado would be the gap in time between episode 9 and episode 10. Where the hell you been, soul brother? That's the question. And if you've been riding with me for a while, you definitely deserve an answer. And I'm going to give you an answer. I don't know where to start, so let's just get right to the shits, because I'm here for it. The thing is, sometimes you need to regroup, recalculate, like your GPS, when they're telling you to go left and you decide to go right because you know that's the way you want to go, and then it says recalculating. I've been recalculating, recalibrating, reloading, if you will. Actually, I just really didn't feel like doing this shit no more. So I stopped doing it. I really don't think you should do anything that you don't feel like doing. I needed to take a break from being SBK, much like in Superman 2, when Superman fell in love with Lois Lane and he got in his feelings and decided he wanted to go to the Fortress of Solitude and pull out that green crystal, or maybe he pulled out a white crystal. He punched that shit in the computer, and he was like, yeah, man, I want to give up my powers. And he gave his powers up. Then he went to the Waffle House with Lois Lane, and this dude tried him and punched Superman in the face. And this fool thought, since he used to be Superman, that he was still Superman. Then all of a sudden, he had that blood trickling down his nose, and he realized he was not Superman no more. Back to the Fortress of Solitude. That's where I've been. But maybe I just got punched in the nose, and I decided, shit. Let me get these powers back. And let me get back in this thing like I never left. So here I am, R.A.W., a terrorist, here to bring trouble to. My punch in the face moment, it actually happened last week. I find myself at one of my favorite local establishments in Tallahassee, Florida. It's Lindy's Chicken. Fried chicken joint. Been around forever. It's a staple in Tallahassee. We ain't doing no Bojangles, Popeyes, Churchies. We ain't doing no KFC. We doing Lindy's. I like to go there, and I pretty much get the same thing all the time. I get the filleted chicken sandwich fried. They take a whole breast. They debone it. Don't ask me how they do it, but they debone it. They deep fry it in their own signature blend of however they do it. Then they fry it. And then I get the fries that have the seasoning salt. The crinkle fries, my favorite fries. I like crinkle fries. And, you know, it's a combo. And then they have that Fanta cherry soda. It's the only time I drink soda. I don't really drink soda that much. Well, shit, I'm lying. I'm drinking a Coke right now. But that's a fluke. I don't normally drink soda. But it was hot. And, you know, there's very few things that you can pop open, like an ice cold Coca-Cola. And then that first taste, you get that, that bite. You like that bite from it. So, and then sometimes I'll back that up with 6 wings. I will get 6 hot wings, but not hot. I will get them made lemon pepper, and then I will get a side of buffalo sauce to dip them at my leisure. I don't like my wings sauced. I like to administer the sauce how I feel. You know, kind of like everything else. This is a sauce. This episode 10 is the sauce. And my Superman no powers punched in the nose moment happened at that Lindy's. Now, you may or may not know, it doesn't really matter. But a part of my origin story is how I first fell in love with radio. There was a radio station in Tallahassee. It was on the AM side. We didn't know any different then. And this is when you would wait for your favorite song to come on, and you would record it with your tape player. WANM. And on WANM, there was a DJ. He was the most popular DJ in town. Everybody knew who he was. Everybody listened to this station because they played all of the latest music. And as hip-hop started, they would slowly sneak in some of this new music called hip-hop. And we'd wait around for our favorite songs to come on. The DJ's name was Joe Bullitt. He is a legend, not only in radio and in the music industry as an executive, but he's also the voice of the one and only FAMU Marching 100. You're listening to WANM. Lock it in and rip the knob off. He would also do some stuff imaging-wise. I used to love it. It used to be classic stuff like, if your radio ain't on WANM, your radio ain't on. I used to love Joe Bullitt. You can't meet anybody that grew up as a 80s baby in Tallahassee, Florida, and they're not familiar with Joe Bullitt. So let's just put it this way. Legendary. He's a status. Everybody knows him. So throughout the years, I've met Joe Bullitt maybe 10, 15 times in the sense of, hey, it's Joe Bullitt. Look at him. There he is. You see him around all the time. And so as I'm sitting there waiting for my order at Lindy's, Joe Bullitt walks in. I'm sitting on a little bench in the waiting area waiting for my food. I have on from head to toe a black T-shirt, some black cargo pants, and some black Adidas. Usually you can catch me wearing all black. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's the Darth Vader in me. But I'm sitting there waiting on my order. Joe Bullitt comes up. He places his order. After he pays for it, he comes and he sits down on that bench right next to me. Oh, I also have on a black mask because Corona is still out here in these streets, and I refuse to get pocked by you monkeys. Still on that. We'll talk about all that later, but let me finish this story. Joe Bullitt sits down, and as soon as he sits down, I realize that over the years that I had opportunity to meet him, I've never had a conversation with him, and this is the perfect time. We both waiting on food. There's no one else in the restaurant. I look towards him and I say, hey, I want to introduce myself. And he says, I'm Joe Bullitt. And I said, oh, I know. And then I might have creeped him out with like a fan moment because I ran down his history really quick. And he was like, oh. But before the conversation continued, I'm going to save that part. I told him that I was in radio for 20 years. In Tampa and Orlando, Florida. He asked me which stations. I told him WTKS, FM, Real Radio 104.1, and also 102.5 The Bone. And I did talk radio for 20 years, and I'm no longer in radio, and I'm back in Tallahassee. And I said, I reached up and I patted him on the shoulder. I said, Joe, you were my inspiration, and I just wanted to officially meet you and tell you that you're the reason why I fell in love with radio and I wanted to be a radio guy. And I can tell from me running down his history and from me talking to him, I could really tell that he was, he seemed like I had made his day. And as a radio guy, when people come up to you, some people say stuff and it's just like the typical thing. And then some people give you a little bit more to let you know they've been rocking with you. Now, this story, I have not yet got punched in the face. Well, I left that part out. As soon as he sat down, before I ran down his history and told him he was my inspiration, he looked at me and he said, "Hey, man, you not cooking today?" My inspiration for radio before I could tell him my story. This nigga thought I was the chicken cook. So let's get back to the shits. You know what? I know a lot of y'all believe in me. I know a lot of y'all like the content that I was given, whether it was on the podcast or on the radio. But once I left radio, I felt like, honestly, I felt like the first 9 episodes of this show, the SBK Show, the podcast, I felt like I was doing the podcast for the listeners. Now, I know you say, well, yeah, you should do it for the listeners, the people that support you. And by support, let's get to that. Venmo at Soul Brother Kevin. Cash App at Soul Brother Kevin. All of your contributions are greatly appreciated. But I would say, when I say, I'm not coming from a selfish standpoint, but you got to put yourself in my shoes for a second. I did radio in some form of capacity for over 20 years. And once I was no longer doing radio and I was not looking to get back into a radio position, I didn't know why I was doing a podcast. Was it a hobby? Was it a passion? I'm used to getting paid for talking. So just like talking just to talk, I felt like, man, all these people that supported me, I need to give them something because I feel like I left them hanging and I needed to provide some content. I did the best that I can. I don't never take a dive. I'm always honest with you guys. I'm always like, that's how I give it up. I'm always like telling you exactly what's on my mind and that kind of thing. But I wasn't doing it for the right reasons. I wasn't doing it for money because I wasn't getting like paid to do a podcast. But I still felt the burden of a deadline or an obligation of putting out a podcast every week. I still felt like if people were checking for me, then I should give them something to check for. But I don't want to give them weak stuff. I don't want to give them something to stepped on. I want to give them something that's a full-fledged effort from me, something I'm proud of, something I'm passionate about, and something I don't agonize about before I press the record button. So once I did 9 episodes, it wasn't like I was counting. I just said to myself, because I wasn't enjoying doing it. And I'm like, well, why am I doing this? So I stopped. Now, is this 10th episode? Why am I doing that? Well, I'm doing it for a lot of reasons. And as we go forward and we dig deeper, you know, as time goes on, you'll see exactly where I'm coming from. I truly feel like I was born to be a content creator or someone with a microphone. Not like I'm trying to save the community. I'm not talking about I'm some sort of activist or some sort of crusader that has an agenda trying to get people to do things. I just genuinely like the form of communicating with people, putting thoughts out, getting a reaction, and having a dialogue, no matter where it goes, just about life and the crazy twists and turns that life brings everybody. My situation is not more special than yours. It's just what I choose to do. But I didn't know why I was doing a podcast. I was like, well, got to give the people something, man. The people been asking me. I get tons of emails, tons of people reaching out to me saying, man, you need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. And I'm like, I might need to be doing that. But I didn't feel like that. Man, I just got tired of being SBK. I've been SBK for 20 years. Maybe I want to do something else. So I took a break away from it to figure out, who am I not? Who am I not? now that I'm not working for a radio company, now that I have found something outside of radio, what am I going to do with that? You have a big audience out there that's sitting back, enjoying what you do, and I don't have to reinvent the wheel. All I have to do is be me. And my radio career was a 20-year struggle to be comfortable in my own skin, being me, unapologetic, saying what I felt, and just giving people something. I just feel like a lot of broadcasters are disingenuous, and they're doing things to stay in a certain zone where they either don't get hated on or everybody loves and appreciates them. Man, that's pussy. I'm not interested in doing something where I got to walk the middle line so I don't offend nobody. And, I don't really care about no cancel culture or anything like that, because then you take the bite out of anything that you're going to say, and these people aren't being honest with you. They're just trying to get through to the end of the show and just kind of live in this fantasy world where I am all-important personality giving my hot takes and opinions, and here's a couple of knee slappers. Man, I don't even know if any of this shit funny. Some people tell me it is. Some people just like to hear what I'm saying. I don't sit back and go, that's going to be funny. Let me say this. That'll get them. Let me really say, no. Now, there is some art to what I do and to how I say things. I speak in hyperbole. I have artistic license to zigging and to zagging and to do the things that I want to do. But it's not so much of that as it is me just trying to be genuinely authentic. So I got tired of doing this shit. I mean, I did. And then I thought about, and this is the worst situation you could be in, well, let me just do it for the money. I didn't even have the balls to do that. Like I said, I don't press anybody to donate. I give out my Venmo at Soul Brother Kevin. I give out my Cash App at Soul Brother Kevin. And let me tell you, when somebody send me $1, when somebody send me $5 or whatever you want to send, because, hey, man, I just want to say I hear you, dude, and this little $1 to me ain't nothing. This little $5 to me ain't nothing, man. I just want you to give us more. We just miss hearing your voice. I wasn't trying to do it for the money. If I was trying to do it for the money, I'd have to be trying to pull a fast one on you. Better call Saul, better call Kevin, slipping Kevin, trying to hustle you and con you. But at the same time, if what you're doing doesn't feel like it's appreciated, then why do it? If you're not going to rate the show 5 stars, if you're not going to tell your friends about it, but then you might go, well, we could if you did the shit on a regular basis. I get it. I'm torn. I'm conflicted. I'm a human being. But you wonder why you've been doing this for 20 years. You want to know why it takes so long for me to do a podcast or whatever? I be in my own head, man. I think about it too much, and I think about it in a way that's not productive. Overanalyzation leads to procrastination or something like that. Overanalysis leads to paralysis. And I'm really, really guilty of being in my own head. My therapist says you don't stop and smell the roses, because I always think about what I want to do and not look back and reflect on what I did, as if I'm not thankful. I am thankful. Now, the first 9 episodes got a lot of downloads. Yeah. First episode got a lot of interaction. Yeah. But it was not fulfilling to me. And I cannot be this authentic Kevin if I'm doing it for the money, or if I'm doing it for just the people saying I got to give them something. Then it's going to be weak, whatever I give them. Now, I don't really feel like I'll be giving anything weak, but for all that I have to go through to sit down and hit that record button, man, it was just kind of draining and taxing. And I was running from that shit and trying to get away from it. Because low-key, I was just still trying to get my life on a new path, and life was handing me some curveballs, bruh. I don't know how to even explain it. And I didn't want the show to turn about, oh, let's listen to the funny guy with the problems. Now, if you wonder how my health is doing great. My kidney is thriving. I've made healthier choices. I'm living a good life, living a good, clean life. Now, on this episode, I will not be talking about what I'm doing for a living now. That will be on the next episode. Look forward to me on TikTok. Look forward to me doing some YouTube channel stuff. Look forward to me getting back to giving my opinion and my takes on current events and things that are going on. That's really what it's all about, is getting into some topical situations and some life situations and analyzing things and trying to figure out the best way to proceed. I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to have a dialogue. And I know a lot of people don't like me. You ain't got to like me. But if you're listening to this, it's because you chose to press play. And if 20 minutes into this, you're still listening, I appreciate it. Now, here is the deal. The way I would like to build this show is I would like to make a promise to you to give you 30 minutes. I think 30 minutes is good for right now. The goal will be to get to an hour later. The content will be coming. And when I say content, not saying that right now what I'm doing is not content, but this is more of putting an end cap on the first 10 episodes. This would be the 10 episodes, and then pivoting and putting efforts in to go into a new direction where I give you some topical stuff and stuff you can relate to and stuff you can interact with me. I ain't trying to be like, and I felt like I was this. I felt like I was being Richard Pryor after he set himself on fire. After he set himself on fire, the whole act was about, hey, I set myself on fire. And then he wasn't being him. He was just being the crazy dude that did the freebase and set himself on fire. I don't want to be that. And I feel that I have slowly turned into that somewhat, but I appreciate you waiting on the process and being patient. And now I'm asking you to trust the process. So that's what we're doing with that. That's how we're going to get down. That's how we're going to proceed. Yeah, man. I wanted to kill SBK. I felt like SBK was the source of all of my misery. And that's not saying that I was being something that I'm not, but I was tired of being that version of Kevin. It's kind of hard to explain because I'm saying, I'm not saying I was doing something that I'm not, but I just wasn't feeling it no more. That's why I didn't really have a hard time separating from radio, because I wasn't feeling it. I didn't like the direction that it was going in. I felt like sometimes that some people were okay with mediocrity and just doing the minimums to get by as far as what was expected of me. And my standards were higher than what was expected sometimes. And I'm not just trying to kill some time to get through a show or episode. Man, I'm trying to do something here. And I feel like when you wear it on your sleeve like I do, you know, you're going to be at odds with some people who trying to fake it. Or I just don't listen to radio no more. And I haven't listened to radio since I got out of it because I feel like what I'm hearing a lot of time is not authentic. It's just guys that are overpaid. They got a huge name and they just are riding off or resting on their laurels or riding off of what they did in the past. And they're just not giving it up. They're not giving me nothing that I can sink my teeth into, man. If I'm going to listen to somebody. Now, I do listen to some stuff sometimes, but a lot of it makes me mad. Like it really made me mad when my inspiration for radio thought I was the dude that cooking the chicken. He thought I was taking a break. Now, in his defense, the dude's in the back dressing all black just like I was dressed. But still, his first thing out of his mouth was, hey, you're not cooking today? And I'm like, it took me a second. Cooking? Do I smell like oil? Do I smell like grease? Man, I'm waiting on my chicken just like you. So that kind of woke me up and I was like, man, let me get back to this. Plus, I feel like since I exited the game, man, well, you know, you get what you get. Whatever's acceptable form of radio now, whatever's acceptable form of podcast now, I just feel like I have something to offer that's up there with a lot of people and a lot of content that I consume. And they don't know me. Even though I've been around for 20 years, mostly I'm a Florida guy or a Southeast region guy. Nobody really knows me outside of this region. And, you know, but I'm still competitive. And when I see people doing big things, I realize my potential and I realize what I can do. Now, can I harness the passion? Can I focus and dedicate to doing that, to bringing something to the table? Hell yeah, I could do that if I want to, but I didn't want to, so I didn't do it. All right. So the way I want to build this show as we go forward and we have topics that come up, I need you to call and leave me a message so I can play the voicemails on the air and bounce off of the questions that you may have or the insight or takes that you might have from stuff that I talk about. That number to call is 407-276-0619. Numbers never change. You can call and leave a message 24 hours a day. And if it makes the cut, I'll play it in the next episode. I apologize to a couple of dudes. One dude in particular sent me a whole audio production of some stuff that I wanted to put in the last episode, which, man, I think the last episode 9 was like in December. And I was like, man, this is the single best call I got ever. This guy produced something. He produced a segment. It was crazy. So whoever you are, if you're listening to this, man, keep it coming, bruh. And I apologize for not using the audio that you sent me that was highly produced, finely manicured, and right up my alley when it talks about engagement. So the Twitter is at The Soul Brother. The Instagram is at The Soul Brother. I believe the TikTok is at The Soul Brother or Soul Brother Kevin. And look for me to be more active and giving you notice of when I'm going to do certain things like go live, or I'm putting together a YouTube show right now, a YouTube channel that's going to encompass like my travels and what I'm doing right now, and how I feel about that and that kind of thing. But the show will slowly gravitate towards content and giving people what they want, something they can engage in. So once again, leave me a voicemail. And you don't just have to tell me, hey, Soul Brother, you the man. You get all drunk and shit and call up here just saying you the man. I don't play a lot of those calls because there's nothing really to sink your teeth into. I know I'm the damn man, but I hadn't been the man lately. So 407-276-0619. You can leave a message on the soul line. Yeah. Now, you can tell me what you're thinking or reflections on what I said in this episode, and I'll always start my episodes recapping the last episodes with your calls and going forward with reflections on content that I put out. Gonna commit to 30 minutes a week right now, and then we'll go from there. We'll get up to an hour. We will include some guests on occasions, maybe some interviews, or whatever interests me. There's another thing. I'm not just gonna put somebody on the show because, oh, it's a good look, and I gotta get the algorithm right, and I gotta try to... Nah, man, I'm just gonna do me and build this slowly and organic. And if you will support me, we can turn this into something beautiful. That's if you're a fan of the Soul Brother. If you're not a fan of the Soul Brother, man, that's cool. But if you're still listening and you're still engaged, then I want to get back to being me and being put in a position where I can do the best I can to be SBK. Even though I thought I needed to kill him. Nah, I ain't talking about you need to kill him. And don't be trying to kill me. Nah, don't do that. I'm talking about like, man, you know, I don't know if you ever did anything for 20 years. Like, even if you're doing your old lady for 20 years, you might get tired of that. Hell, you might get tired of counting money for 20 years. Anything you do for 20 years, you might get tired of it. You might want to do what I did. I took a chance and I decided after I was let go from the radio station, I wasn't fired for anything I said or reason or, you know, or content or anything like that. It was budget cuts. But, I decided to take a radical turn in my life and do something totally different. And on that note, we will pick up from there. I will tell you in detail what I'm doing now, how I feel about it, experiences that I've had, interesting, crazy shit that I've seen. And that's what I like. I like the ups and downs and the swerves of life, and I hope I do a good job communicating my experiences to you. I'm no different than you. I'm just sharing what I've been through. I hope you connect to it. Once again, if you want to support the show, I appreciate the efforts. It actually, you know, it makes things easier. It keeps things going. Cash App at Soul Brother Kevin. Venmo at Soul Brother Kevin. I think the PayPal is at Soul Brother Kevin too, or whatever it is that you want to do. All right. So That's episode 10. That wraps up the first 10 episodes of the SBK Show. And then we're going to go forward with a new direction, more content, more frequency, more engagement on all levels. Once again, leave me a message to play on the show. Tell me what you thought about this episode. Give me some observations. Yo, if you want to call me out, call me out. What do you have to say? 407-276-0619. Holla at a player.